Right, I did not expect to talk about 2xKO so soon again. But somehow, Riot are absolute mad lads who keep giving 2xKO more features. And I really need to ask, how many of you predicted VR chat in 2xKO? So, there is honestly so much to talk about that we are just diving right in. All of these news stem from one thing, and that's the fact that the alpha lab for 2xKO just started. And now, for the first time, players are able to test 2xKO from their homes. And I will not be one of these because I am European. And Riot does not make exceptions even for creators. I assume it's likely because they want to test proper latency. And as far as I know, cross-region play is not supported yet, so it's possible that you're just not able to play from Europe. Anyway, 2xKO is now in public hands. And with it, Riot revealed some new features that are meant for casual players specifically. And they revealed it all in a massive post. But before that, for those of you who were lucky enough to get into these tests, there is a big warning at the very beginning of the post. There is a big disclaimer about the possible bugs and the jankiness, but then, when you start the game, they ask you to log into the Alpha Lab with the correct Riot account, because if you log in with an account that was not selected for the lab, you will softlock the game, which means you will not be able to play the game. But also, there will be a QR code that pops up so you can sign in. The issue is, everyone can see it, including your potential viewers. So anyone will be able to sign in for you. So don't stream this game on startup. And at the end, after the test is done, people will get surveys. But that's the details out of the way. So now, let's hop into the big features. 2xKO is now Animal Crossing. I mean, VR chat. I mean, Miiverse. I mean, it has casual lobbies. Yep. I did not expect that. Did you? So this is a casual lobby. A surprising feature that actually carries a lot of genius decisions behind it. You see, fighting games, just like something like Valorant, always had a problem. They never really got a feeling of a community, unless you went somewhere physically. These are simply massively online games where you never really feel the masses of players, because you are either playing the game or you are staring at a menu. Some fighting games tried to fix this in the past. For example, I remember that the Dragon Ball fighting game tried to do something with it. It tried to be a little bit more of an MMO, so it too tried to have public lobbies. But I don't know much about that because I didn't play that game. And well, it seems like Riot liked it, because 2xKO allows you to run around the lobby as you're looking for matches. But the fun does not stop here, not by a long shot. So to get here, in the main menu, you select Fight and then you go into Casual Play. This will automatically spawn you in the lobby. For the most part, you will see a lot of randomized players. I assume later there will be some prioritizing based on your friend list, maybe. But you can also form a party before entering. And if you do, you'll hop into the lobby together. Now, another cool thing is that when you queue in for a match, you don't just wait for a pop-up and then click accept like you do in League. No, here, instead, one of the fighting cabinets lights up, and you run up to it to accept the match. This is so clever. It makes for such a good immersion. And on the technical side, you just replaced the accept button on the pop-up. See, this is already pretty cool, but there are other ways of getting into games. For example, instead of queuing up, you can also challenge someone. You simply walk up to someone you see, you click on the menu and you click challenge. We don't really have the details here, but it seems like if you are already queued up, this will not interrupt the queue. So you might be able to challenge people as you are waiting for the matchmaking. So this should be a pretty cool way to pass some time. But that's still not it, because if you don't want to challenge anyone, you can also walk up to an empty cabinet and you can start a training mode, which a lot of people will be using just to warm up. This is honestly such a cool way of bringing the vibes of a fighting game tournament into the game. And again, I did not expect anything like this in 2XKO. But don't worry, we are still not done yet. For some reason, they don't show this feature in the post and they only show it in the shorts. But this hub also has one more massive feature. When other people are fighting at the cabinets, you can actually see their score and you can see what champions they are playing. But when you walk up to them, the game streams you their match. So you can spectate their match. It's like peeking over their shoulders when they are playing at an arcade cabinet. This is wild, and the opportunities this brings in are crazy. For example, imagine if 2XKO had a big tournament happening. Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Riot can just put those esports matches onto the big screens. So when something like 2XKO Worlds are happening, people can have massive watch parties in-game. This wouldn't be too different from what Fortnite is doing with their events. And I am all down for it. Anyway, in this lobby, another feature is that you can dynamically invite people for a duo, and if you don't want to see other players around you, you can also make your own private room, which still has all the training cabinets. And what's crazy is that you can invite up to 16 players here. Again, this is wild because by doing this, creators can make these massive streamer parties, where they just invite a bunch of creators and they organize their fights live in-game. Purely from a creator's perspective, this is nuts. And of course, because all of this is themed around your avatar, yes, you will be able to customize them. Right now you have options for heads, upper body, lower body, hands, shoes, waist and face. I bet the waist is there, so your avatar can have like a champion's belt. Maybe a reward for reaching gold or something in a ranked season. But more importantly, yes, everything can be customized with colors. And as the post mentions, yes, there will be more things that can be unlocked through a battle pass. More on that in just a moment. Next, we have to dive into the chroma skins, which are the recolors for the champions. And the interesting thing here is that the post mentions that these are unlockable. Of course, the pricing in the test is just a placeholder, but this means that you will have to earn these chromas manually, which also means that all of these will be tied to some cool progression. And in these types of games that are just based on matches, you want as many progression systems as possible, so you can keep the players hooked. So this actually seems decent. And you can already see that Yasuo has some cool demonic versions. Next, speaking of unlockable rewards, yes, the lobby avatars also have their own emotes. And it is not just stickers above their heads. It is also proper animations of the avatars, which again unlocks a whole new world of collectibles. Speaking of which, it is time to dive into skins. Obviously, since it is a free-to-play game, it was obvious this game would have microtransactions. And during this test, there will be 2 skins available. First of all, there is Blade Song Yasuo, which is our first unique skin to 2XKO. You can't find this one anywhere else in any other game, and I'm pretty sure it's there on purpose to show people that 2XKO will make its own skins. So don't freak out, Seraphine mains. But this one is in fact from the RPG skin line, which can be found in other games, because you can clearly see that Yasuo is an elf. And the other skin is Dynasty Ahri, which is not that unique. And to be honest, it is interesting that this was their first choice for an Ahri skin. Maybe they just want to save Spirit Blossom Ahri for a cash-in later on. Anyway, this is where the post then dives into how to play the game. First of all, there will be a tutorial mode, which simply gives you all the inputs so you can learn the moves. Next, there is also a training mode, which seems to have a lot of interesting options, where besides just showing combos and fiddling with the values, you can also record and play back your own moves, so analyzing combos will be a lot easier. And yes, there are already pre-built bots in the game. And they have difficulties ranging from wood and iron to silver and gold, and even beyond into dynamic difficulties, which dynamically adjust based on how well you can handle the bot. And as a bit of a joke, there is also the new paper difficulty. What's cool is that training mode also works in co-op, so you can test out how tagging works against bots, but that is where the post then goes into progression and currencies. So of course, the first thing here is the Battle Pass. The first one will be unlocked for all testers, and it will have 20 levels of rewards, with the progression being based on simply playing games and doing missions, just like how it always worked in something like Valorant. Though I do have to vent my worries. I hope the Alpha Lab doesn't have exclusive rewards, just like what the closed beta for Valorant had. By playing the closed beta, which I actually think might have been alpha back in the day, you were able to get a unique gun body. And because it was a closed test, it was essentially a gamble whether you were able to get it or not. Thankfully, I got into the test after asking writers because I was initially not on the list of creators for it. But if I didn't get in, I would be disappointed that I missed out on a collectible. Yes, this is quite literally what FOMO is about. So I hope 2xKO doesn't have it in these closed tests. Otherwise, be ready for a lot of angry Europeans. After which we get a quick preview for the missions. Yep, they are the same as Valorant. And as a reward, you also get credits. And here it is mentioned that they will be used to unlock the chromas, but in the future they will also be used to unlock new champions. So by default, it seems like there will be a base pool of free champions, but the new ones will be unlocked through the classic freemium system. In other words, it is exactly like League of Legends. Though here they also mentioned that while the first 6 champions will be open in the alpha, in the future some of these champions will be locked. So we can assume that some of the more complex champions, which are not the best for new players, will have to be unlocked. But that's pretty much it for all the base information. After this, they show us the 4 playable maps, which we have talked about extensively in separate videos, but then we also got some extra information from their shorts. First, 2xKO will have a similar netcode to Valorant, which means that latency will be optimized quite well. The friend list should use the classic Riot tag. Cross-platform play will be available in some regions, with cross-region private matches being available in the future. They will just not be supported in the alpha. So this means that while there will be no matchmaking that is cross-region, you will be able to have a friendly spar against your friend across the entire globe. Which again, especially for creators, is amazing. Then it is mentioned that offline play will be available in the future. And lastly, yes, 2xKO is also using Vanguard as the anti-cheat. Some people will freak out here, but later they will learn that Vanguard is actually quite fine. Though, it is still a little bit questionable. And that is all the news we have for 2xKO. Again, as I repeated many times, I did not expect any of this. The lobbies just honestly have so much potential. Especially with the big screens, it would be amazing for events. Not to mention, creators could make their own clashes here. And it's even amazing for all the random people just watching a big screen with 2 chads just fighting it out. Whoever thought of this should get a raise. Because this is such a great way of bringing the casual audience to the fighting games. Which also reminded me of something. On Twitter, someone had an amazing suggestion. One that actually had quite a few likes. What if Riot put a library into this lobby which would archive the lore of the champions? Hey, I don't want to be taking the job away from Legends of Runeterra, but this would be amazing. And it would be great for immersion too. But of course, the main focus of the lobby is on the community, which means there should be also one big feature. This lobby needs public voice chat, right?